Oops. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome for joining us at the General Lunch Hour. Our host this afternoon is Minka. She's a registered dietitianist, and yeah, she does very good work. I can be a witness to that. Okay, Minka, over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Minka, surname Helena, and I'm a registered dietitian. I've been practicing as a dietitian now for, almost 3 years now since my ComCerv. And I really enjoy what I do. So, I have the opportunity to share with you guys some information about the diet and healthy lifestyle. So let's dig in. All right, so I'm just going to talk about basic nutrition, as it's a quite a broad topic, but I'm going to try to simplify it for you and just to give you some pointers that you can take home. All right, so first of all, we have to know what is nutrition. It's basically what we take in and how we use the food and how the body then actually uses the food to then use it for something like metabolism or different processes within the body. So obviously you need to drink or eat something, and then the body breaks that food source down into different particles, different nutrients that we call it, and then that nutrients, they travel through the bloodstream, and then it's being used as fuel, like I said, for different types of metabolisms that's running in the body, energy metabolism, for fuel, and various other purposes. So we have to then give our body proper nutrition to make sure the body inside is also healthy. And then also we need to make sure that what we consume contains the right key nutrients so that it can sustain the body healthy. All right, so if I would ask you what is healthy nutrition, like I said, it is quite a broad topic, so it's difficult always to answer this one, because as you guys probably know, there's a lot of fad diets, we call it fad diets, on the market. That's just different type of diets that you've probably Googled or come across or tried before. Intermittent fasting is quite a trendy type of diet that goes around that people often try to do. The keto diet, I'm sure you guys heard about the keto diet before. Maybe you guys have used some pills on the market to lose weight. So it's difficult, like I said, to classify and to know what is healthy nutrition then. And all of these diets that's currently listed here, I'm not saying they are wrong. I'm just saying there's a time and a place for every type of diet. That's why it's important that you consult a dietitian when you want to do a certain type of diet, or you want to lose weight, or you just want to focus on a healthy lifestyle. All right, so healthy nutrition, according to me, how I would classify it, is balanced eating habits. We'll go into depth on the balanced eating habits in a while, but it's balanced eating habits that is specifically individualized so that it can be sustainable for you specifically. Okay, so individualized is very important because there's a lot of diets even on the market, and not everything is according to your needs. So that's why it's so important that each diet is individualized according to what your body needs, and as well as what your needs are. All right, and then sustainable, I always ask my patients, all right, we can try it, but do you think that it is sustainable for you? Can you do it now when you're on holiday? Can you do it in 2 years' time? And that's the important part, and we sometimes miss that. We should also look at health and nutrition as a lifestyle change, building good habits inside your lifestyle, than just doing a diet for 3 months and then we relapse back on old habits. So it's always important to ask yourself, is healthy nutrition, can it be sustainable? If yes, then we can do it. All right, so if we can then go into a little bit more about balanced eating habits, I'm going to focus on this one quite a lot. And we're going to discuss the different food groups and go into depth with each of them. So I said healthy nutrition is balanced eating habits. So what is a balanced eating habit? First of all, we have to know what is food groups. What does it entail? So you have 4 main types of food groups. Carbohydrates, which I'm sure you guys heard about before. You've got proteins, vegetables, and fats. So we're going to start off with carbohydrates as our first food group. So usually when I tell my patients about carbs, they're always like, no, carbs, you can't have carbs. When I just look at bread or something that's carb related, it makes me fat. I gain weight. So it's important to note that carbs is not only something like bread. It's a starch, which is something like bread, your rice, your cereals, your potatoes, even sweet potato. It's a starch. It's not a vegetable. And then pasta, things like that. So that's your starch group, which falls under the big heading carbohydrates. Then you've got your milk and milk products, which also contain carbs. Fruits, they contain carbs as well because of their sugar content, which we call fructose. So they also fall under the carb content. And then all types of sugar products contain carbs. So it's important just to note that what carbs do in the body. So when we eat carbs, carbs gets broken down into a glucose, which is sugar, right? And that sugar is then being released as energy. So it can have an effect on your blood sugar level, but remember, it gives us energy. It can either give us artificial energy, so quick spikes up and down, kind of curve of energy, or it can give you a sustainable curve of energy where your sugar levels just go a little bit up and a little bit down. And that's all going to depend on 3 things when we consume carbs, okay? Specifically when we look at starch. But in general, for carbs, we always need to look at the timing when we consume them. We need to look at the portion size of our carbs, and then as well as the type. All right, so then that can be the determinants for how our energy levels will be. Will it be sustainable, the nice up and down curve, or will it be unstable and uncontrolled? We've got a zigzag type of curve for your energy levels. All right, so with starch, it's something that we consume quite a lot. All right, so like I said, it's part of the carbohydrates groups. We have to look at the type, timing, and the portion. So yes, portion size is always important, but the type is just as important. You can have it, but we focus on 2 things. The first thing is something that we call low GI. You guys probably have seen it before on a label somewhere in the shops. So low GI stands for low glycemic index, and that means that the sugar levels gets gradually released in your bloodstream when that carb or starch that you eat gets broken down in your body. Then that sugar gets gradually released in your bloodstream, so it causes that nice curve of a wave that we want. All right, the second thing, as you can see on the picture, is something that contains fiber, and that's something that we call whole wheat. All right, so when we look at starch, we want low GI options as well as whole wheat options. So I said we want fiber because fiber is good for your digestive system if you are struggling with things like constipation, for instance, and just for regular stools, we need enough fiber. Now, fiber is quite a difficult thing to get into the diet as we don't eat a lot of it. We go for, we call it refined starches, which means it's anything basically that is white, all right, like white bread or cake flour. And another interesting about fiber, it stabilizes your sugar level as well as it takes longer to digest, so it keeps you fuller for longer. So that's the 2 things. When you buy starch, your bread, your rice, your cereals, we want to look at something that's low GI and whole wheat. And if that's the only thing that you remember of today, that would be a good thing. All right, so I gave you guys some options here, or some food products that is available in the market that we can actually use that is low GI and whole wheat. I hope you guys can see the picture. So for instance, the Tastic rice, it's your whole grain brown rice. Your oats is a good option because it's high in fiber. Then you can see on the bread, it specifically says low GI and then whole wheat as well. So that's the type of bread that we want to use. Couscous, also a very quick, easy way to get in a type of starch. But again, we want to choose the whole wheat one. Okay, so just note that these are products that we can use, which is good to use because of the benefits that we've now that I just mentioned. The slow release of sugar and the more fiber, the better for your digestive system. Just check, there is a low GI label or logo that they would usually put on the back where the nutritional information is listed on the product that you would know that this is low GI, so know it's a tested product, you can rely on that, so it's trustworthy. All right. Then if we're going to look at the other carbs that there is, so we talked about starch, and then now we're talking about fruits, milk, and sugar. So with fruits, like I said, they contain sugar, fructose, but you can use it. Okay, there's also some fiber in it because of the skin. It's high in vitamins and minerals. It's something that we should try to have as well in our healthy nutrition lifestyle. Okay, then milk. Again, it needs to be individualized accordingly to low fat or fat free or full cream. But with milk, we also just want to check our portion sizes. As we know, it also contains lactose, which is the sugar in milk. And then sugar. Unfortunately, no matter the timing, the type, or the portion of sugar that we consume, it's always going to cause spikes in our blood sugar level. It's going to give you that artificial spurt of energy, and your energy levels are going to drop back down, and you're going to feel like you have no energy. So be careful of sugar that you consume. So obviously sugar is not only your sweeties that I've listed there on the picture, it's also the things like what we drink, fizzy drinks or fruit juices, concentrate like oros, iced teas, and then as well the use of sugar. Just an interesting fact that white sugar, brown sugar, it's the same. They just differ in color. And honey is just a natural type of sugar, but it still has the same effect of causing spikes in your blood sugar level. So I just always say, if you prefer to use honey because you feel it's more natural, it's fine, but still we do everything in moderation. Okay, then if we're going to look at the next group of our balanced eating habits with food groups specifically, we covered carbohydrates now. If we look at protein, just as a rule, I always say try to cut off the visible fat and the visible skin part, as it's not a good fat for you, it's not good for your heart health. So excessive fat, we take away. Then for the food groups, if we look at vegetables, I don't know if you guys knew this, but vegetables can actually be classified into two groups. You get the veggie A group, and then you get the veggie B group. So your veggie A is your veggies that doesn't contain any carbs. All right, so they don't have that much energy in it. So that's things like your spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, and then also salad type of things, your mushrooms, your onions, cucumber, tomatoes, lettuce, those type of things. So that's your veggie A, not contributing a lot to your energy. But vegetable B group, they actually contribute to your energy because they contain carbs in. So that's things like your beetroot, your butternut, your peas, corn, and carrots. You can have vegetables as long as we have, obviously, with the skin, the better. The cooking process is just the important part, because sometimes we add a lot of things, sugar and butter and cream, and we make it so nice, but in the end, the nutrients that's important is taken away. Okay, so just always be careful of how we prepare our veggies. All right, and then if we're just going to look at fats lastly about the food groups, you've got 3 types of fat. So obviously the first one, I've emphasized that picture a bit. It's called trans fat. So that's actually a bad fat. Anything that's baked, like a cookie, a muffin, a scone, a donut, takeaways, deep fried, they are classified as a trans fat because they are bad fats. They sit around the heart, they block the arteries, they increase your risk for cardiovascular diseases. And usually it's because we use sunflower oil, okay? And that's where the bad thing comes in. We've got also animal fats. Now, animal fats we actually want in moderation, not too much of it. That's why I said we cut off the skin, we take off the fat. We're also careful with our butter and cream that we use while we cook. We want to focus more on plant fat. So that's things like your nuts, as you can see on the picture, nuts, seeds, your avos and your olives, and then as well the type of oil we use, which is then either olive oil or canola oil. So canola oil is a little bit more affordable. You can always use spray and cook as well. But that's just, again, a better fat that's actually good for your brain and your heart health. And these products are anti-inflammatory. So they work against inflammation. They actually improve it. They can help with your cholesterol levels as well. So it's a good thing to try to include in your healthy nutrition lifestyle. All right, so then how should a balanced plate of food look like when we look at all the food groups that there are? And sometimes we've got the ratios a bit wrong. And then we struggle and we don't understand why we're not losing weight, for instance. So as you can see on the picture, half of your plate, we want veggies. All right, I know I said fruits and veggies. Fruits is also important because they contain the vitamins and minerals, but veggies is so important. We neglect it a lot. We usually only maybe have some starch and some protein, but it's very important for us. The better, the more, the better. And there's actually no limit with the amount of veggies that we can have. So just as a rule, if that is your plate, always try half of your plate to be full of veggies. All right, and then we want 25%, so that's a quarter of your plate, to be your proteins. All right, and like I said, lean proteins, taking off the fat in the skin. Otherwise, I always say you can do it more or less the palm size of your hand. That would be your portion size for protein. And then 25%, the other quarter of your plate, would be a whole wheat, high fiber starch option. And we've now mentioned previous products that you can use. So it's not other way around, but sometimes the starch is half of our plate. And then we only have a small bit of veggies and a small bit of protein. It's other way around. So your veggies and your starch needs to swap so that we have more veggies, a small bit of starch, and a little bit of protein as well. That's a balanced plate of food. Then, of course, it's important that we should drink water. Okay, we can't just eat right but have no water intake. Okay, so healthy nutrition also entails that we drink enough water. So per average, it's more or less 1.5 to 2 liters of water per day. And that's really achievable. It seems a lot when you look at the number, but it's achievable. 1.5 liter is 2 pump bottles. All right, and I always say, if we don't have the water, we're not going to drink it. So make sure you've got your water with you. When you have a busy schedule, when you're at work, make sure you've got a bottle or a glass of water. When you go to the toilet, drink a glass of water. Be more alert on your thirsty cues, and consume the water, because it is important to flush the toxins out and to make sure all the systems work properly. And then just as a general, I didn't put a picture in now, but healthy nutrition, like we said, it's about healthy eating habits. We've discussed that. It's about your water intake as well. And then just something that I always touch on is your physical activity. All right, we need to try to be physically active. We need to try to get in some type of exercise in that your body allows you. The guideline says more or less 3 to 4 times a week for at least 30 to 40 minutes. So I always leave it up to my patients, but it is something good to incorporate into this healthy nutrition lifestyle. And that's that from me. I hope you guys got the idea that I wanted to present to you today, and that you can take something away from what healthy nutrition is. If you have any questions, you can please ask me, or you can always contact me and we can book you a consultation. Thank you.
Thank you, Minka. Is there any questions? Please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Okay. If you would like to make contact, is there someone? Okay, if you would like to make contact with Minka, you will see there's a contact information to make an appointment with her. And yeah, thank you, Minka. We appreciate your time and the good guidance you gave us for good diet. Yeah, must all have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.